Welcome back to the Nullified Take, where we have the TNT takes for you on Survivor 47, Episode 4. I'm Jake, and I'm back with Coach Drew. How you doing, man?
I'm doing. We're batting 4 for 4 now. We're batting 4 for 4. I think we're setting ourselves up for a very high batting average by the time this is all done.
Yeah, no, we're still batting 1,000, and I'd be shocked if it dipped below anything, good later on. It looks like it's consistently everyone is delivering. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll pick up where we left off last week, where we said, "Oh yeah, like I forgot Genevieve was there," and I compared her to, and I forgot his name already again. Oh, Eric from China, where it's like, oh, I thought that she was two different people. I thought that brunette with the brown hair and the brunette with the glasses and the brunette without the glasses were two different people. Yeah. They are the same person, and in a episode full of main characters, somehow she turned into the main character at the end by the time the end of the episode came around. And just to piggyback off something else that you said, I know I'm jumping the gun by like an hour, but the preview for next week, like if this was another season and they said, oh yeah, a new twist, normally I'd be like, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for it. I'm actually excited to see what this new twist is going to be next week.
So just a heads up, I didn't see the preview. I just finished watching the episode right before this. I had to rush in here. And so what is this? What's in the preview? I didn't see.
So basically, they show up to the challenge and Jeff says, this season we're going to introduce a new twist. And then it cuts to everyone's reactions or whatever. And like I said, and if this was almost any other season, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, they were doing well. But like, I'm actually excited to see what happened.
Yeah.
Also glad you made it through the hurricane. I know there's a lot of people that have been dealing with that. I've got family down there. I know it's been a time, so I'm glad you were able to join us.
Yeah. I'm really glad. I hope everybody out there in Florida, hope everybody out there's safe. And
yeah,
please.
Fun segue to the beginning of this, where we're I won't say blessed. We're definitely something to Sam's rapping, which I was begging for it to end, and he kept going. And the messed up part is, similar to what they did to Andy earlier this season, they were just egging him on to just keep on doing it. It's like, I understand, but like, and he tried to pull the whole modest thing of like, oh, that wasn't the best. And you're like, no, it was great. It was great.
He thought he did something there, and everybody else, I don't know if they're faking it. I don't know if, it's funny. Sam, I can't remember if it was last episode or the one before, said something about with Annika, how he and her were clashing and how he just couldn't. He was trying so hard to hide it on his face that he was so annoyed. If I were sitting right next to him, I would be having a hard time, like, hiding my cringe. Like, just stop. Like, I might have turned into Wendell.
I was just ready to say, put the mic down, bro. Yeah.
Put the mic down, bro. Yeah. Sam versus Chris Noble rap battle win. Oh my!
Honestly, I take Chris Noble because his Ponderosa song is actually
Sammy Sosa. Yeah. I'd like to see Sam pull something like that off.
Okay. But yeah, we start with their tribe, and once again, it's just kind of they're teasing this non-existent showmans. And at some point, Annika's name gets brought up as far as like, I was really, messy of her to bring that back to camp, which I didn't feel like necessarily who was it that brought it back to? Was it Annika that brought it back to camp, or was it Andy?
Well, she went on the journey and she just relayed what everybody else was saying.
I thought it was weird that they tried to pass it off as like, oh, I can't believe she told us that. It's like, I feel like I would want to know that now instead of getting into the merge and everyone just, assuming that it is without anyone kind of saying, no, this isn't actually how it is.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. That's like a positive thing, I would think. Like, oh, yeah, she's trying to help us out here by like letting us know that everybody sees us as like a threat, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. So yeah, they actually, I think the first thing was they go back to
Oh
the
yeah,
Blue Tribe,
the night
and
before.
so Sue is lying about her age. What do you think of this? She's actually 56 or 58 or something. She's lying
Yeah,
and saying
she's
she's
late
45.
50s. She said she was 45, and who was she? Was she telling? I don't know who she was telling.
Kyle.
And yeah, oh yeah, Kyle said yeah because he's saying, Lord willing, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, Sue looks good for her age. I
Mhm,
don't necessarily know if I would buy 45, but like,
mhm.
good on her. And if these people are actually believing it, it's working to her advantage. I and then we get the whole Gabe thing where it's like I want to work with the older woman, everything, and I feel like we didn't get much of their tribe content
Mhm.
past their initial segment, which
Yeah.
we'll get to.
Well,
Yeah,
Sue almost died.
yes.
Yeah.
So, like we said last week, that was the obvious red herring of the
Yeah.
trailer. We figured there's gonna be one real thing and one fake thing. This was obviously the fake thing. And you know what? I had forgotten about that after she had finished cleaning up everything. I'm like, oh wow, like good for her. Only for
Yeah.
only for it to not really work out, and she doesn't get caught red-handed, as she
Mhm.
says, but it doesn't look good for her.
Red haired, red chinned,
Yeah,
you could say.
yeah, the machete, and like I obviously we don't know how much they cut, but it
Yeah.
it made it very apparent that she is clearly lying to these people, and that they
Right.
have caught on to the fact that she's lying about something.
Yeah. So yeah, the initial when they go back to camp, I believe, yeah, she talks about how she's lying about her age. Everybody's underestimating her, which is then corroborated with Gabe saying like, yeah, I wanted to be on a tribe with an older woman because I felt like I could just drag her along and beat her, basically, is the essence of what he's saying. And it's interesting because I don't know what to make of this. Is like, is Sue really getting one over on him by I guess, but not really, because she's lying and saying I'm 45 actually. I'm not an old woman, but Gabe still sees her as an old woman who can be manipulated. But I don't know. Like it's and
Well,
then
Gabe's
The whole thing with
26, so like
Kyle,
in his head, she's 21 years older than him. So
right.
that is to him that is an older woman.
Mhm.
Uh, I I'm interested to see how that dynamic continues moving forward because, like we said, we don't get much with them this
Mhm.
episode, but what we do get is everyone's views on basically everyone, but specifically everyone's views on Sue. There's a like if you don't really get the other dynamics on the tribe this episode. It's just everyone talking about Sue and Sue talking about herself and Sue finding the idol, which I'm fine with because I do feel like we've spent I won't say a lot of time with them this season, but like I feel like we know these people now,
Yeah.
and let's focus on all the chaotic tribes because I feel like every tribe this season is fun chaotic.
Yeah. So I may be getting out of chronological order, so I apologize.
Yeah.
But I believe like the next kind of biggish thing that happens is Sierra and Andy walking along in the jungle, and she tells him about this alliance that she has with the other girls, the breadwinners. And
Breadwinner.
Andy is like, "Wow, this is amazing. She's willing to tell me what the name of this alliance is. Like, that's like the biggest thing ever, is like telling him the name of an alliance. I just think that's so funny that like the name was so important to him. And then Sam, meanwhile, is saying how, oh yeah, Andy is just this guy that I'm just dragging along. He tells me everything, every single piece of information that is in his brain, he transfers over to me. And that's exactly what happens with this breadwinners thing. What do you make of this? Do you think that Andy, because Sierra specifically says, don't tell anybody.
Not
Do you
tell
think
anyone.
that it was unfair of Andy to like think that Sam was part of that because Sam and Sierra are so close? What's your take on this?
I think that Andy is, like we've been saying all season. I Going all the way back, I don't think he was trying to play people during the crime thing. I think we've established that. I do think that everything that he has done since then has been to get people to aim their cannons at each other and away from him. I don't know if we weren't actually specifically told in this episode, but I do feel like, yeah, I'm going to immediately leak this to Sam, assuming that you haven't told him. And if you have told him, then you should have no problem with me telling him because we're all alliance, right? And then that leads to a mini confrontation, not really confrontation. And it's established, oh, yeah, one of the two of them want want Andy gone. And one, being Sam, still wants Andy around despite the fact that he is now proven to be sort of a shit stirrer. Nothing like egregious or anything wrong, but it's still enough to be like, okay, if he's doing this now, we might need to nip this in the bud later. And Sam, I don't want Andy gone. I don't want Andy gone. It's like, okay, I feel like every tribe right now has that dynamic of everyone wants a specific person that is kind of on the outs. They still want them around. And I think that that's going to, once again, we keep saying this, it's going to lead to a very fun merge when it happens because there's so many people protecting each other and everyone's still revealing each other's secrets. I know that I've kind of rambled on the actual answer to your question, but I think that Andy's just stirring shit up just to see if it works. And I would say that it was a success this time around. What's the benefit of lying about age? Does Sue think that something she thinks would be impressive at a final tribal council? I feel like it's the same thing as lying about occupation or anything like that. Like some people just feel like they get an extra advantage, or maybe it hinders them in other people's eyes if they are a certain age or if they have a certain occupation or whatever.
Yeah, I think that is the crux of it, is like she wants a big reveal and she wants everybody to ooh and ah at like, wow, I believed you, also like sort of like an ego thing where it's like, I believed you that you were actually this young too. I think that's part of it. I don't know. I feel like lying about age and occupation, it's such a common thing in the new era that I'm just kind of over it at this point, honestly. I just don't think people are already making assumptions and conclusions about you based on your age already.
Yeah.
Obviously she doesn't, or I think she does know that, but obviously she can't see everything that Gabe and others are saying, in their confessionals, but it's already happening. So I don't know. Just doesn't really make that much of a difference. I just think it's interesting that everybody thinks it's going to, and they want this big reveal at Final Tribal Council. They think that like it's going to push them over the top. And have we ever seen that before?
Or someone where the person's big moment at Final Tribal was, I'm actually this.
Yeah.
Or when it comes to age wise, no, I don't believe so. No, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, it's a no. And like we've seen, like, yes, you hold on to things that you think might impact a jury. And if that's what you think, and it's never been shown to work or not work because it's never happened before, maybe you do go do that because you don't know. You honestly don't know. So, if that was what she was doing and she gets to the end and she pulls that off and she catches vote, maybe she doesn't even win. She catches votes because of that. I would say that it's a successful strategy if that's
Yeah, I think I would agree, but I just don't see like it's all going to come down to your game. Like if your game doesn't meet the bar, why is suddenly knowing actually I'm 13-ish years older than I actually said I was going to push that over? Anyways, kind of rambling on, but
yeah. And I realize, going. I think the tribe would think that the older she is, the more of a liability for the tribe. Ageism is real in the workplace. Why not Survivor? No, I get that, but I feel like whether she says 45 or 57, they're going to look at her as the older lady anyway. Because she is, she can't lie and say that she's 25. Like she
yeah,
can only say she's 45. And there's no, and I do agree that yes, historically, the older folks will either go early or people feel like they can just drag them along for the ride. And ironically enough, if they make it far enough, there have been times where that person has won the game. The older female has won the game. So, there's a lot of different points in Survivor history where being the older woman or the older person in general can really screw you or could potentially benefit you long term because you get the mama thing and then all of a sudden everyone feels like they're being protective of you. And then when they beat you, it's like, oh, well, I may have screwed the pooch on that one.
right. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Who do
We forgot to start with the actual beginning of the episode. The tribe, they just came back from tribal.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's so much that happens with that tribe this episode. I just forgot that the beginning of the episode happened.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, it's fairly simple. It's okay. Saul is Saul's on the outs. Teeny couldn't vote for Asia, and she votes for Saul. Explains to Saul. Saul says hates is a game. If everyone came out here and got pissy over every vote like that, then they don't need to be out here. This, that, and the other. Where the real fun begins, though, is babysitting gate, which takes up a large portion of the beginning of the episode. Thoughts?
Yeah. So, wow. If I'm Saul, I can't. Like the patience that he showed, honestly.
I thought he was going to swing. I thought he was going to swing.
Oh yeah. No, like the tension was crazy. Like when Teeny looked back at the camera and was like, yikes. Like same. Like just watching that. I can't imagine being right there watching it. Like it's a game, and Rome is right in a way where he's like, I can follow you around if I want to, but it's very childish. And I just know Saul being much older than Rome, being much bigger than Rome. I don't know. He mentions that a couple of times. He's like, I don't think I've ever seen a guy as small as Rome. I just thought that was funny. He switched from age to height. Like, I don't know if I've seen a guy as small as Rome, talk to me that way. And I obviously I'm a young guy, but I can see how that would drive him nuts. And I think at a certain point, like, you kind of have to respect people's alone time. Like, that's just a thing. You're there 24 hours a day with each other. There's no breaks. There's no, okay, everybody gets their own alone time now. If somebody wanted to, like Rome, they could just sit right next to you and say, ha, 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 I'm watching you. I'm babysitting you. And it's like, oh,
I feel like even if you are Rome in that situation, I would just get tired of following him around.
Yeah.
Like, all right, please sit somewhere for please sit somewhere and not move for a bit. And if I'm Saul, I'm like, okay, well, if that's what we want me to do, I'm just gonna keep on walking around like this. Rome does have a lot of energy, and everyone, I mean, we're all saying it. it makes sense why one would do that. We have in the chat, this is what Andrea Belke did with Malcolm and Karamoan.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. People babysit them all the time. I think that we were just shown it a lot more in this segment than is trying to put, like, they've been trying to portray Rome for a good reason as the villain of the season. He's actually
Saul says it straight out.
yeah,
He's the
he's
villain of the season.
the villain of the season.
Yeah.
So in order for us to have these types of, oh, this guy's the villain, we get a lot more of these moments that we might, not get in other seasons. And it's very similar to Sam and Annika last week, where I felt like one of them was going to swing on each other. I felt like, I know that no one's ever going to swing on, but I did, like, Saul's facial expressions this episode are amazing, because I get them all. Every single facial expression Saul had in this episode is just like, even when, getting later into the episode where Genevieve's like, hey, don't vote Rome, let's go this other way. And Saul's just like, nope, not doing it. No.
Yeah.
Nope. It's like, yeah, I get it. I feel like Saul is saying that Genevieve was the main character towards the end. Saul was the main character for the actual larger part of the episode. He was the main protagonist, where he's our proxy for most of it. We want to, and we'll talk about the challenge in a second, because I feel like we probably have the same views on how that went down. But this is also where the seeds for what is going to happen later start to come up.
Yeah. So just to give some more thoughts on that, I think following him around in the jungle, I get that. That's where the idols are, right? But when Saul's like, is it okay if I go sit on the beach? And Rome's like, yeah, that's fine, but I'm just going to sit right next to you. I'm like, what? He's just sitting on the beach. Like, what are you going to gain from sitting right next to him? And yeah, back to your point of like, it's got to get boring at some point. Yeah, like, oh my gosh, like just watching it, like, especially on the beach, like just that, nothing's going to happen there. Like, give me a break. Another thing too, Rome says like feigning like that he's trying to help him, being like, yeah, I actually don't think it's the smart thing for you to to look for idols. And Saul immediately just calls him on his bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
really? Like, you think that like I actually buy that? Like, everybody else can look but me? Like, really? I just love, like you're saying, like Saul was kind of the main character, and I was digging it. Like, I love his just no nonsense with Rome. Yeah. It's really, really good. And I'm glad that both of them are still on the season.
Yes. And like we're gonna keep saying this. I cannot wait to watch all of these tribal dynamics hit the next phase of the game with all these crazy folks on every tribe. You guys going like that. You Saul and Rome stay together. I mean, I don't want them to, but if they do, that would be one of my favorite strange bedfellows things ever happened on the show. Right. And so, once again, we're not getting Genevieve content just yet. We're getting Genevieve Keyshawn together content, which is fine, and we're getting Teeny trying to talk down Rome, just like, hey, like, let's just give the guy some space. It's fine. Yeah. We're all good here. Let's just give the guy some space. But we're getting Genevieve and Keyshawn, and these are two people that we haven't really seen too much so far this season. We notoriously said last week, Genevieve is two people, or who is?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Any final thoughts on them pre-challenge?
I think we kind of covered everything there.
I do want to jump right back. I do want to jump back to Sue for just a second. How do you think? What did you think of how she went about cleaning the paint and everything?
Yeah, so she like kind of just sweeps everything to the side. I mean, like from the camera angle, it looks like, yeah, I don't see anything there. But she didn't pay attention to her. I mean, there was still a bunch on like her wrist and chin and stuff. Obviously, she can't see her chin, but I thought I was kind of impressed. I was not expecting, like, I feel like if I was in that situation, I would have panicked and been like, I'm fucked. Like, there's this huge pile right in there,
So at one point, when she's like doing the whole cleaning montage, they show her like rubbing her arm against the well, and I thought that was her actually trying to like cut her arm a little bit to make it seem like it was actually blood, so that when they showed up, it would. It turns out that she was probably just trying to clean her arm off on the well. But I was like, wow, that's so smart. Like, yeah, just cut it a little bit. Do what professional wrestlers do and cut the top of your forehead open so it makes so you bleed from right there. And it just turns out she's just trying to clean it up. And I was so happy with how she went about it. I'm surprised. I'm curious to see how much time actually elapsed between when she cut it.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
because she was at it for a bit. The montage made it seem like she was at it for a bit, and their whole interaction kind of felt rushed. It's like, oh yeah, I was just right by the well. Like, I just want to be by the well. And it's like, okay, are you bleeding? No, oh yeah, machete, but like it's fine, whatever. And then they go back and I don't trust Sue. Okay.
Yeah. So, oh shoot, I was gonna say something. Yeah. Oh yeah. In the preview from last episode, the way that they tried to make it seem was like the jar, I guess, drops from the tree and leaves a huge pile of red paint, and then it shows their reaction being like, oh my gosh, is that blood? Sue, are you okay? So I was expecting, obviously we talked about it, we knew that it wasn't blood, whatever, but I was expecting at least them to see the pile of paint. So I was surprised. I was taken aback when she was able to clean everything up, and it was actually just like a little bit of paint on her in her hair and stuff. But yeah, she obviously caught off guard when they come up to her at the well. She is like, oh yeah, the machete, but then she says, I bit the back of my tongue.
Yeah.
And so it's like, obviously that has nothing to do with the machete. So yeah, if I were Tiana or Caroline, I'd be like, okay, so she just definitely something else just happened. Like, so.
Well, I feel like next week is going to be, because we didn't get enough content with them this week, I feel like next week there's going to be a moment where the two of them are talking and they're like, oh, remember when we caught Sue by the well? And then they'll do the little flashback thing. Because I think that's where their storyline is going to pick up next week.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I think that I don't know actually if this is really going to change the game. I think it's just kind of something that will be left in the back of their minds, being like, huh, Sue in that one moment was acting a little suspicious.
And Sue gets an idol. Sue gets an idol doesn't need to be activated, doesn't need to be, you gotta use. It's just a regular, good old-fashioned idol that you can use till Final 5. And as of right now, no one knows that she has it. It felt cool to see like a regular old school immunity idol that's just hers. She doesn't have to say any stupid phrases. I know that hasn't been a thing in a bit, but she doesn't say any stupid phrases. She doesn't have to connect it with other people's idols. It's just an idol. And I'm all right with that. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's used. But we get to the challenge. And Jake, the first question, did Rome throw the challenge? Because we never actually hear it said in the episode. But,
if I'm being 100% honest with you, I literally didn't even think of that as a possibility.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That he threw it. Yeah, no, which is kind of makes sense that you bring that up, because like, how do you not even get one piece? Not one piece. Has that ever happened before? Were they I
think Jeff said the first time in history the puzzle starts off the way that, or ends the way that it started off.
Yeah. And another thing, like obviously we've seen some pretty pathetic challenge performances in 47 seasons of Survivor, but I don't think we've ever seen it like this where it wasn't the physical part. It was like, no, they were the first ones done with the physical part. It was the puzzle where they literally did not get one piece. And yeah, wow, you've got my head spinning now of like
Well, and
if
just
he
the way
threw
that
that, because how seriously
they were sitting doing like this. No, no, no.
was it
Hey, do
Teeny
you guys
or was it
potentially want to
Genevieve?
switch up? No, 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 I'm good.
It was mind boggling. Do you remember who it was that was with him?
It was it wasn't Saul.
Yeah, yeah.
It was oh shoot. Wait, who are we talking about? We're talking about Rome. Oh, so it would have been Caroline.
Caroline's on the blue tribe, I think. Is it?
Oh, no, no, no. Okay, my bad. Well, then it would have
Oh, it's
been.
Genevieve. People in the
Was
chat are
it
saying it was
Genevieve? Oh, it's
Genevieve.
Genevieve. Okay.
So
Oh, yeah. The main character.
right, yeah, that one, yeah.
um, yeah, but they could have swapped at any point because even Jeff is sitting there saying, "Oh, they're not even, they're not even trying to adjust or do whatever," and it's just them passing one piece at a time. And at a certain point, it's like, yeah, if you were really trying to win this, and Saul is standing there trying to help you out, Saul's standing there saying, "That's not going to fit." Just looking at the piece, that's not going to fit. That's not going to fit. It's not going to fit. And Rome's trying it every way with every piece. I'm like, he's very clearly throwing. If it comes out that he wasn't cool, you know what? I suck at puzzles, so like I get it. I also wouldn't be on the puzzle because I know I suck at puzzles. I think based off of what had happened earlier in the episode, which is why I'm so shocked that they didn't cut to a scene of Rome saying, "Yeah, I threw it on purpose." Um, the way that everything we've been shown at the beginning of the episode, and then for him, someone who later says, "I'm not good at puzzles," is the person on the puzzle. They threw it. They had to have thrown it, and by they I mean him.
Yeah, well, maybe Genevieve too, because why wasn't she putting any pieces on? Why was she just keep handing it off? Because that was the thing that stood out to me during the challenge. I was like, why is Rome the only one that's testing the pieces? When you look at the other tribes, it was like both people were grabbing and trying, grabbing and trying. It was just, yeah. I almost want to say that, like, I don't think he threw it because it would have been like way too obvious. Like, if I feel like it was like if he was, he would have tried a little harder, or he's just that bad that like he didn't even have to try to throw it. He's just that bad at puzzles. And I mean, yeah, maybe he did throw it too. You got my mind spinning.
I'm actually shocked that you did, because that's when I was like, oh yeah, I feel like we're on the same page about how the challenge happened. I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be, oh yeah, hey Jake, do you think that Rome threw the challenge? Yeah, of course.
I feel like this happened like a couple seasons ago too with Chris, who came on the podcast and he was like, "So, do you think he threw it?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think of that." I think I just don't even, because it's just so ridiculous. Like, so like, why would you do that? Because, and I guess Rome doesn't know this, but like he's not in the greatest position ever. Like he thinks he's in the best position ever. He thinks he has total control, and that's not entirely true. He's not, he's, as we saw, he had his ally Genevieve rally a troop, to be able to save him. So clearly, he has legs in this game. But I guess throwing challenges is just something that I don't even think about because it's just so, unless somebody explicitly says it. So, yeah.
But we get to the end of this challenge. They've clearly lost, and we also pick our three people to go on the I always want to call it Shipwheel Island. I know it's not Shipwheel Island
anymore,
anymore, but to go on the journey. Go on the quest. And I guess we can go straight to that, and we'll go back to what happens at camp. We get these three there, and Andy, is once again laying down his master plan of like, yeah, if I'm on the bottom here, where I don't trust these people here, then at least I can build something with these folks so that when we get to the merge, I can be the person to give them all the tea from what's going on in my tribe. I think that Andy, for better, I know he's being portrayed as a goof, but he's being portrayed as a goof. But when you actually listen to what he's saying, a lot of it does make sense, and I do think that could benefit him if his tribe either continues to win or if he continues to keep these strong bonds that he has made since his breakdown in episode 1. What did you think of Shipwell Island this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. So I think this is like the biggest case, I guess, if that's the right way to put it, of like, okay, whoa, we might have just saw the start of something. Like, I feel like in other seasons we see that people come together and they tell each other a few little tidbits about what's going on at camp, and there's like and then when we get to merge, let's all link up, because we just met and we have good vibes. This time it felt different. It felt like specifically Andy was like, I just feel like this is foreshadowing when we get to merge, because I'm pretty confident that Andy's going to make it to merge, just the way I'm thinking right now. And I feel like he's just going to completely abandon his tribe.
Yeah.
I really, because I know that it's like he already feels like they don't really connect with him. That was the biggest thing, is like, oh, they clap and cheer when John cracks open the coconut, but when I do it, crickets, And I think he just wants like some sort of real connection. I feel like he felt that on the journey, and so he's like trying to force it with Sierra, trying to make something happen with Sam. He's telling Sam everything, but I just feel like when it comes to merge, he's gonna like see these people as like shiny new things, like, oh, they actually like want to work with me. Oh my gosh, okay, yeah, forget them, and I have the amulet now with them. So it just felt like foreshadowing to me. Did you feel the same way?
Yes,
Yeah,
because he is going to flip, and I'm excited for him to flip. Andy's a guy. Like, I'm not an Andy stan by any means, but like, I have enjoyed his content this season. But I am excited for Merge Andy. I'm very excited for what Merge Andy will do, and I do think that he will be the catalyst for a lot of things to happen. But I can say that for a lot of people in this cast, as far as who can go into the merge and just start shit, which means they probably won't finish anything because they're going to get clocked early. But that's for a couple weeks from now. How did you feel about the fact that all three of them just told the truth? I don't think I might be mistaken, but I'm fairly certain all three of them told the truth to their tribes about the amulets. They all said, "Yep, this is what it is, and this is how it works. It's different from other amulets. This, that, and the other."
Yeah, so I think it's pretty easy for Andy and Caroline to be like, "Hey, I didn't have to do anything. They just gave this to me. Like, I didn't have to give up my vote or anything. It was Teeny that, just offered to give up her vote, so it gives a picture of sort of like that they weren't an accomplice in this. Like, it just sort of happened to me, and, obviously if you don't have to, don't tell people about your advantages, but I don't know. I felt like it was like, I didn't really find it that crazy that they just told him. But because, I feel like we've seen the amulet like twice before, or maybe we just once. I can't remember.
I know at least 42.
Yeah.
It probably happened one other time, but I know at least 42.
And as far as I know, they never actually all linked together.
Yeah.
And that's just because why not? Well, but this time there's more of an incentive to not do not vote each other out because it's still an idol. Because before it was only like an extra vote with three.
Yeah,
With
three.
two, it was a steal a vote. One, it was an idol. And so with then, it's like, okay, clearly they're just going to go for each other, to try to get the idol. But this time it's a bit different. So I don't know. What do you agree with me that it like wasn't the worst move ever to just
No, there's if you lie about it and you last until the merge and the other two people went back and told the truth, now you look like a liar to everyone in the game, and now you were screwed. And instead of just going back, just saying, hey, this is how it is, especially on Teeny's case, where Teeny's, not the top dog on the tribe, but Teeny's name really didn't even get brought up even after they learned that Teeny didn't have a vote. Still was never discussed, at least shown on camera. So I feel like there's no point for Teeny to lie about it, and there's really no point for the other two to lie about it because, yeah, I don't have a vote now, but like I've got this, and I feel like I have at least one other person on this tribe that will watch my back. I'd be shocked if any of the three of them went home next episode. Yeah, I think that's true because we both agree that Andy's not going home pre-merge.
Yeah, and so, Teeny's in a fine spot, and Caroline as well. So yeah, I agree with all of that. And yeah, that's a very, very good point you bring up about like you kind of have to like get ahead of the other two, because if they say something to their tribe, once it gets to merge, that's going to spread like wildfire. There's amulets going around. There's amulets. Andy has it. Teeny has it. Blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be like, what the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't tell us that.
Yeah.
So going to Teeny's tribe. Okay, so let's see if we can unpack this. So it's going to be Saul. All episode, it's been told it's going to be Saul, which means that it's actually going to be Rome, because they're going to figure out some type of way to flip this on Rome, because that. And Keyshawn and Rome are talking. And, who's the decoy name going to be? Oh, well, it should probably be Genevieve, which, once again, it's crazy they didn't say Teeny's name there. It's Genevieve's name. The person that is actually at camp in that moment, Genevieve will be the decoy. And it's just kind of a one-off thing that we, like, if we didn't already know what happens later in the episode, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's just a random conversation that happens. It doesn't mean anything to what's going to happen later. Keyshawn wants to flip the vote on Rome. Keyshawn gets Genevieve involved. Teeny gets back. Teeny doesn't have a vote. We're going to vote for Rome. And it seems like it should be very straightforward. Similar to how it's supposed to be very straightforward when the vote was on Saul. And chaos. So what all did you enjoy about this entire segment of the episode?
It just all happened so fast. This all happened. Everything that you just said, I feel like happened before Teeny even got back, I believe. Yeah. Which is crazy because anyways, Keyshawn, it felt weird. So Rome's talking to Keyshawn saying, just repeating what we already knew of, if I just steal Saul's vote, then it's just like icing on the cake. Like he can't even play a shot in the dark. Like it's over unless he gets an idol. But we've been following him around, so we know he doesn't have an idol. Blah blah blah. And then Rome says, "Should I just go, basically threaten him, be like, dude, give me your shot in the dark, or I'm just gonna steal your vote." And Keyshawn's like, "Yeah, do it. I actually really love that idea. You should go do that." And then when Rome does it, then Keyshawn's like, "Well, wait a second. I kind of don't like that." It's like he made he thought he was realizing something like, wait, Rome is actually kind of chaotic. And I was sitting there like, you're just now realizing this, or just now thinking this? Where have you been the past 3 episodes, Keyshawn? I don't know. It was strange. And then going to Genevieve, you don't have to go to Genevieve to get out Rome. Just go to Saul and Teeny. Well, I guess actually since Teeny ended up losing her vote, but he didn't know that. So might have been jumping the gun a little bit. You could have gotten away with leaving her out of it. And with hindsight, we know that was bad. And so I was just like shocked at like all of this was happening. Like suddenly Keyshawn is realizing that Rome is a force of chaos. Like, I don't know how you're just now realizing this.
It might have been an editing trick. Yeah, it could have been.
It could have been.
Yeah.
It could have been.
I will say that I have never. Oh no, that's not true. I haven't laughed out loud at a Survivor moment. Ah man, it's been. I would say even before. It's been a while. Watching it for the first time, like over the summer while I was rewatching all the seasons, I laughed at a lot of shit. Watching for the first time, I haven't laughed at something in a long time. When Genevieve has her grand revelation and they start doing the greatest editing trick the show has pulled since I think Jesse's like checklist in 43. And you're like seeing everything unfold like a horror movie, like an M. Night Shyamalan movie of like, oh man, Bruce Willis is dead the entire time. Spoilers. I laughed so hard that I had to rewind it because I was missing things because I was laughing that hard. Because I like it was just a fun little, and it's not even supposed to be funny like that, but I just found it hilarious that they framed it as if we, as the audience, are now Genevieve, and now we are thinking about all these things that have happened, and Keyshawn's actually this big power player, and this, that, and the other, and all of a sudden it becomes the Genevieve show, where she gets like 5 or 6 confessionals on that tree. I'm going to start calling it the Genevieve tree because I have it ingrained in my head now. Oh, that's the moment that Genevieve, without glasses, became like the main character of the episode and potentially the season, because everything that happens at Tribal, and I will give credit to Rome here because Rome does tell Genevieve, oh yeah, Keyshawn used your name as a decoy, but he didn't mean anything by it. And I do feel like Rome was being very genuine about saying that. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, don't worry, like, but sets off in her head and it's game on, and I loved it. In that moment I want to change my winner pick from Rachel to her because of how amazing that scene went down.
And it was like just so like nonchalant by her, just like, all right, I'm just gonna flip it, like I'll just do it, and I guess maybe lost in the fold of all of this, like of just how impressive it was to get Rome and Saul to agree on who to vote for together, which if you would have told me that was going to happen before the episode, I never would have believed you. Is this the right move to go this way, to take out Keyshawn and kind of maybe burn a bridge with Teeny?
No, because now Genevieve has, at least optics wise, it looks like she has both Saul on her side and definitely has Rome on her side. Mm-hmm. And I feel like depending on how she goes about explaining it to Teeny when they get back to camp, could have Teeny on her side. I think Genevieve has put herself in a prime position to either be the new driving force for this tribe, or the three of them say, hey, maybe we should get rid of a power player before the merge, which I hope they don't do. Because now I'm like I said, now I'm so team Genevieve that I want to change my winner pick. And I'm not going to because I'm not a coward. I'm sticking with Rachel. But that was, it was such a, and it was so fun because you don't know if Rome's going to steal a vote. You don't know if Saul's going to flip his vote. You don't know if Genevieve realizes, oh, the numbers might not be there on Keyshawn, so we might as well just vote for Rome anyway. You don't know what's going to happen. And that leads to such a fun tribal because you're sitting here trying to listen to what people are saying, realizing none of this shit matters because they're all lying to us and the edit is lying to us so that we don't know what's about to happen. And to the point where, oh, you didn't watch the credits. So do you know that Saul did not use a shot in the dark? And oh no, you had to know because they would say Saul played a shot in the dark.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Somehow that didn't click in my head until they showed everyone vote, and I'm like, oh, he voted for Keyshawn too. It's like, yeah, no shit, because yeah, they would have shown. Anyway, and we'll get to, I guess we'll get to tribal proper, but yeah, I think that
we can probably just get there now. I mean, did anything else really happen at camp?
Well,
we haven't already covered
to make apologies to Saul.
Oh yeah, which is like the most half-assed little. He's like basically like, I'm sorry if I offended you. Basically,
yeah,
like
that's who I am.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, like yeah, right. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, no, but I just found that hilarious that he's just like, oh yeah, Saul, I'm actually really sorry about all that stuff from earlier in the episode.
I was also scared. I was also thinking like, oh shit, is Saul when Genevieve comes to Saul and tells like, you should vote for Keyshawn tonight. I think you, me, and Rome should vote for Keyshawn and take him out. And Saul immediately says, I can't. I can't vote for anybody but Rome. I just have to. I was like, you're pulling an Asia, man. Like that's exactly what got her. Like she had a lifeline and she didn't take it, and same thing's happening to you. But he did what Asia didn't, and finally, we didn't see it, but he finally agreed to do it, and that's you got to do it. Like I guess I'm still just kind of in shock that Asia didn't go that way in the game of like just being agreeable with the people in power or like the people that are trying to help you, and so I guess we can get to tribal now. I thought like 100%, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, Rome never talked about stealing Keyshawn's vote.
No.
Before.
Never.
Right. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, either he's not playing the steal vote or he's just going to do what he very originally said and steal Saul's vote to just make sure he can't play his shot in the dark. So when I saw him stand up to do a steal vote, I was like, they're just going with the original plan. Really lame. And then he steals Keyshawn's vote. I was like, whoa. So it's going down.
Music that plays there too. I don't know if we've had that specific music before, but I was invested. I mean, I was invested the entire time, but like that music was like, oh shit, like something crazy is about to happen.
And just like knowing, like, could you imagine being Keyshawn or Teeny in that moment of being like, what is happening? Like something's about to go down, and we now, like in the moment where you and your closest ally don't even have a vote, you have no control over what is about to happen. You just have to sit there and watch. And Keyshawn's out. And I gotta say, this is like, if you would have told me before the episode that Keyshawn was going, I would have had to assume that Saul found an idol.
Yeah.
And like some shenanigans went down where Rome and Genevieve knew that he found it. So they're like, okay, let's put votes on Keyshawn. I think a lot of people had high hopes for Keyshawn. I think that which if you didn't know, he's not a fan of the show.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I only learned that recently. Kind of blew me away. Definitely gives the vibe of a super fan. So I feel like myself and everybody else were like, this, he's in it for the long run, and just flames out here. Yeah.
He flamed out in a great episode and a great tribal council. Something that I feel like people are going to remember Keyshawn because of this, because of the way he went out, and just like the even the way like his parting words were like, you can tell this man is in clear shock that this just happened. That's what did he say? Oh, that's not the way I expected it to go, or something like that. He said, I was with you 3, and and he, hey, good GG's, I'm out. Keyshawn was nowhere on my list of people to go home this episode. I would say that probably on my list would have been either Saul or Rome the entire time. I felt like it had to be like this is what they, and this is once again this season has done so, Survivor has done so well this season of tricking us into believing things, going all the way back to John preseason and going to in the first episode. They spent all episode telling us it's Rome versus Saul. Keyshawn thing is a red herring. Don't pay attention to it. It's not actually going to happen. And when it does, and even when Rome uses the seal of vote on Keyshawn, so okay, this could still like really, not go well for Saul. And that first Keyshawn, Keyshawn, like Keyshawn Johnson, pops up. It's like, okay, yeah, they might have actually pulled the fast one on us, the audience, and Teeny and Keyshawn in real time out there. I've read people saying that this is one of the greatest pre-merge episodes of the show in the show's history. I would have to do another marathon in a couple of years to actually say so. But right. I really enjoyed this one. I think that I was invested in every segment that they had in the show. Every time they jumped from one point to another, I was like, oh yeah. This I want to see what happens next. I would say that the least exciting aspect of the episode is probably the quest, and even then, because I feel like with that Teeny, Teeny has to be the person that So there was no what's the word? I wasn't. Oh my goodness, why am I forgetting words right now? But whatever it is, I still enjoyed that segment. This episode as a whole, though, I loved it. If Rome didn't play Steal a Vote, would Saul have gone along? It felt forced because of the Steal a Vote.
So this is actually a really interesting point. Do you think that Saul wasn't gonna go along with the plan, but then he saw, oh shoot, okay, Rome just stole Keyshawn's vote, so they already have the majority right there. That's 3 votes. So I'm just like shooting myself in the foot if I don't go along with them, because they're going to be like, dude, we just saved you and you didn't even vote with us, Yeah. So, yeah, that could have been what happened, honestly, is that he wasn't even originally going to vote with them and then did an audible and was like, oh shit, okay, that's where it's going, so I'm going to do it. But that he's got to be happy about that. I mean, it was going to be him, so
no, I think that I think that I feel like we're going to find out very quickly at the beginning of the next episode if he was always going to do that or not. I would say that right now, sitting here a week before the next episode, I'd say that he probably went in planning on voting for Keyshawn. I feel like Genevieve convinced him, hey, we're good. You don't have the fact that he doesn't even play.
They probably told him he was going to play the Steal a Vote anyways. That probably wasn't a surprise to him. He probably knew. Yeah.
So I unless we find out later, as in next week, that wasn't the case, I think that he went in planning on voting for Keyshawn. How do you think Teeny's going to take it?
I think she's just going to take it on the chin. I don't think she's going to get too beat up over it. I think maybe she'll be a little bitter because I think she probably doesn't think that that's the right move for Genevieve, because I think you and I kind of agree, like, rocking the boat a little too much here, Genevieve. You're showing us, you can play this game. You can convince Saul Saul and Rome to vote with each other. That's so.
That's
And I
real
think
power.
Teeny really felt actually maybe she might be actually devastated. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, because she was already pretty beat up about Asia, and it's like they weren't even really agreeing on anything. That was more so just like they just got along well, just personally. But with Keyshawn, it was like they really clicked together. Like they didn't really disagree on anything. It was just like such a good working strategic relationship. So this, I feel like this is pretty tough for Teeny, but I think if they go to tribal again, it's Saul. You know, I well, I wouldn't have said it was Keyshawn this episode, so we don't know. But
Yeah.
that's just So I guess what I'm trying to say is like this is really rough for Teeny to lose Keyshawn. That was her guy, but she's not dead. She's not
No,
dead.
yeah, absolutely not. You think prize votes continue and we lose a big edited player next week? Who would surprise you both? So I know we talked about this last week. How I feel like the edit has been pretty fair across the board, and we made sure to say, except for Genevieve, which I feel like she's now joined the race as far as well edited characters this season. I because this cast is stacked and because everyone is like you said they're delivering, everyone's delivering, everyone has a character. I think we would have to lose a big edited player next week, because I would say that most people on the season are fairly big to big large edited players. Person that would surprise me the most, Andy. I'd say Andy, almost any of the women, and also Teeny.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in my head, a man's going to go home next week.
Yeah, probably.
And if that's the case, okay, well, I've already taken off Andy off of that list. So, like, there's only so many men left in the game.
There are actually quite a few people that I'd be really shocked if they went home next week. Like Andy, Sam, I'd be pretty
His
surprised
rap skills
because
alone, get him off the show. I'm done with him. Don't rap.
you're done with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was disqualifying. You got to leave. But not only does he have an idol, but it's just the way he's being edited. I feel like he's in it for a bit longer. I feel like the him and Sierra thing is going to play into the merge. The him and Andy thing is going to play into the merge. So yeah, I'd honestly right now I'd be shocked if any of the people on blue went home. Like maybe Kyle, but even then, like I feel like he's kind of had there's some legs to his game that haven't paid off yet, So yeah, there's actually it's more so who would you not be surprised that went home? That's probably the better question, because
Rome, Saul.
probably Saul is like my only answer, honestly.
Yeah. Or they just don't vote anyone out next week, and it's actually medevac. I'm not speaking that into the world. Yeah. Said it. It's not my favorite moment of the episode, but something that like it triggered a memory in my head as they're leaving tribal council. Not since Carl and David versus Goliath have I seen someone with such a big shit-eating grin on their face as they leave tribal that Rome had on his way out of tribal. The Carl tribal where he used the idol nullifier. Yeah. He has such, it's ingrained in my head of like, he has the cowboy hat on, Bing. He's walking with swagger, he's got the smile on as they leave. Rome has that exact same smile on his face. I think there's more teeth this time around. And I just, even though, I don't normally root for the antagonist in Survivor seasons, like antagonist is different from villain in my head. Or no, antagonist villain is different from piece of shit in my head. So like I'm fine with Survivor villains like Rome. I'm not fine with, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not riding with Rome here, but I do enjoy I have been enjoying his content because you build up this fun Survivor villain. More than likely, it's going to end up like this, and when that happens, there's this excitement of, wow, that's a damn good character that we just lost. But I'm so happy that they're gone now because now I can focus on Rachel in the situation, or Genevieve. God. So yeah, I both want Rome to be around for a long time, and also cannot wait for when he inevitably maybe loses the game. Because I do feel like he is what we thought Gabe was the first episode or two. I feel like Rome, and that's just because his tribe has had to vote the last few rounds. But I feel like this has become the Rome show, and it's not like when it was the Russell Hant show, because I hated that. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to see what shenanigans Rome gets himself into this time, because inevitably someone's going to deal with it, and it's going to be fun. I know I ranted there, but like I love this season. I love this season.
Oh yeah. No, I'm completely with you. Like it's like a win-win. It's either like Rome, but maybe I want to see Rome survive at least a couple more episodes. I think anything after that, it could get maybe okay, I'm ready for him to go at this point. But like it's a win-win where it's like either we get to see him just be, a little chaos agent, and somebody like Keyshawn gets taken out somehow, or somebody takes him out finally, and we get to see the downfall. That's always what's fun, and that's what makes Samoa and Heroes vs Villains, at least Samoa specifically, redeemable at the end. Is at least we get to see Russell Hantz sit there at the reunion and have to watch Natalie take the $1 million from him.
Now I've got the Rome grin going on. And this,
yeah,
the good times.
yeah, exactly. This is I love to hate Rome is what Danica says. I feel like I don't think I hate Rome. I think I just like him. I think he's just entertaining. I don't necessarily hate him. I think if I were out there, I'd be fucking annoyed out of my mind. But I don't think I hate him.
I wanted Saul to hit him. Not because I don't like Rome, but just because, hey, man, you've provoked this man enough that you got him to do something that no one has ever done in the show. Good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that explains how I feel about Rome, but like that's how I feel about Rome.
Yeah, I think, long story short, this is a really good season so far, and like we've said, it's batting 4 for 4, 1,000. Let's see if it continues. I would be shocked if it didn't.
Yeah, if we get 2 stinkers, I'll even allow 3. I still feel like, this is. I don't know. I hope this twist next week is either like, so the fact that they tweaked the amulets and it works. Like I feel like the original idea of the amulet in 42, I liked the concept of it. It didn't pan out the way that I think they may have hoped that it did, but like the fact that they tweaked it and now we have this one, it shows that they are trying to fix things that people like, some of the things that people have had qualms about. So this twist that they're introducing next week, I know you didn't watch the trailer, but like any hope for what it could be? Like I said, they introduced it at a challenge.
Whew. maybe a tribe swap. That they
But yeah,
usually do that.
never seen. Yeah, they said they've never seen this twist before.
Yeah, we've definitely seen tribe swaps, so that's not it. Wow, I don't know. I have no idea. I think that I'm sure there's spoilers out there of what it is. I hope not. I want to go into it blind. I think I just want to be like, whoa, oh, okay, interesting. You know, I, I can't think of anything that would like ruin it. Like, does it have something to do with the challenge, or is it just like an overall twist? I don't know. Do you have any
No, I have no
inclinations of?
idea, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah, that makes me more excited because I have no idea.
but any final thoughts on this episode before we head out?
I think we covered everything.
Well, then take it away.
All right, grab your torches, everybody. Head back to camp. We'll see you next time.
See ya.